Hello viewers, and welcome to our presentation on Dead Reckoning, the software that will keep you safe from the sure death that is scuba diving. Start the presentation by going through the navigation of the page. On load, we come to the home page here. We also have a section to plan a dive where we take user input and show the dives on this graph here. We also have a section for unit tests where we load the unit test for each table. And lastly, we have our settings section here where you can switch between a NAUI and a PADI table, as well as switch our measurements from feet to meters. As you can see, when the page loads, we're already in the NAUI table and our measurement is in feet. So let's go ahead and plan a dive. So we'll start with our first dive at a depth of 60 feet for 60 minutes. Then we alert the user to let them know what dive group they're in. Now, after the dive has been successful, it'll be plotted on this graph here, and you can see that for this graph we happen to have a decompression time, so we show the user how long they need to be at the decompression stop, and we also have a new input box here letting the user know that they need to enter a surface interval time for their next dive. So let's go ahead and enter our next dive. We'll go to 60 feet again for 30 minutes. And as you can see, we alert the user that they need to enter a surface time greater than 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and add surface interval time of 180 minutes, or 3 hours. And as you can see, once again, we have an alert here letting them know that they've exceeded the time for that dive depth. And as you can see, it also did not update the graph. So we'll go ahead and change the time so we can get into a valid dive. And after that, it shows you that after that interval time, it put you in a new group of E, and then after that dive, it put you in a group of I. So let's go ahead and try one more dive. We'll go to 100 feet for 5 minutes, and we'll have another 3 hours in our interval time. So the sit time put us in group D for our new group, and then you can see that we get a warning here letting us know that the repetitive dive must be at a lower depth than the previous dive. So this is another indication of the error checking that we're doing for the user to make sure that their dives are safe and follow all the rules of the tables. So let's go ahead and change our depth, and we'll go to 40 feet instead for our third dive for a total amount of 5 minutes and the same surface interval time. So the sit time put us in the same new group, and then the repetitive dive put us in group F. And you can see on the graph here, we are updated with our third and final dive. Now moving on from our dive planning, we'll go ahead and take a look at our unit test here. And you can see we have 7 different test suites here, each one with its individual unit test. And this is for the NAUI table here. So if we go down to our settings area and we change from the NAUI to the PADI table, we could take a look at our unit tests, and we'll see that we have more test suites here for our new table. So we're just ensuring that for both tables with the same functions, we're getting valid input and output. The unit tests are put in place to allow us developers to ensure that as we're loading these dive tables and using a user input, that we can make sure that all of the inputs and outputs are doing what we expect them to do. We can also show that after planning a dive with our new table, we'll get some different outputs. So if we do 60 feet for 60 minutes again, we'll see that this does not fit this table. We get exceeding the maximum dive depth for this time and depth. So if we go ahead and change the time, we'll see that it puts us in a different group, and U is only in the PADI table, not in the NAUI table. So you see that the groups are being changed as well. The last bit of functionality we have to show is this interactive dive table here, and this is the NAUI table, and it just allows the user to cycle through this and look at the different depths and the times that are associated with each group. That's all we have to show for this video. Thank you for watching. Check out our Bitbucket and dive safe.